Come on inside. This is representative of George and Mary's 1908 kitchen. And everything is period correct. That's a Finley, about 1900 Finley stove. It was made by Elmira, who bought Finley. It's brand new. It's never been fired up. We will fire it up because we're having Thanksgiving here this year.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, the family's having it here. Everything that you see, this is all repurposed, and we've made it back to the original look. We have vents here because one of the master bedrooms is upstairs, and the heat would go up through the vents from the stove. These floors had concrete on them to level them. They were unbelievable, and there was some massive rot and decay thing here, which we had to totally cut out and blend. I mean, it was a bit of a nightmare that way. This is an ice box. You put the ice in here with the hooks. You there's a drain pan there. And it's ironic, my grandmother was here. I interviewed her, and she was telling me about this. She says, oh yeah, she says it was so dark, she says, and they had an outhouse. And she said, Henry, my grandfather, walked me out to the outhouse, and she says, oh, it was, I said, outhouse? She goes, yeah. She says, yeah, there was a higher one for adults and a smaller one for the kids. And she said, and I knew they bought things from the Eaton's catalog. And I said, why? She said, because there was a catalog hanging on a string. You tore a sheet off and you wiped your hiney. I'm quoting her. Could you imagine wiping your hiney with a piece from the thing, you know? So anyways, so I knew they bought. Matter of fact, I think she liked page 110. Here they are. Here's the catalog, 1901 Eaton's catalog. And the funny part is, the cream separator right there, that's right out of the catalog.
Oh, wow.
An Eaton Supreme clothes washer machine. You want a joke? Look at this. This washes clothes. Look at this. That's it. This thing goes like that. That wouldn't you do better by yourself? And the wringer probably was the big time saver. This is an Eaton's brand. We have other Eaton's thing, pumps, scales. So this was very typical. This is where Mary would have served her family. 4 kids, 2 adults. So this is again 1908. So we're going to go next door. They would have not had electricity. They would have had oil. This, I think, is amazing. So what we have here is 1840. I'm going to talk real fast because there's a lot of stuff to share quickly. There is the mother that came over. There's Eliza Duffy.
Oh, lovely.
We had that blown up from a daguerreotype. And the best quality we could get, but there she is there. We have a very detailed obituary about her, too, by a Wesleyan Methodist preacher. The traveling preachers that went around. And so this room, okay, what do we know? I know that this cabinet was here. I know that it had the same dimensions. You know why? Because what they did is they painted this stuff white. Yeah. I knew there was wainscoting here. Now, there was none here. There was just boards, and they put planks up, but I took it back. I ripped all that stuff down. We found some original wainboarding, 33 inches exactly up from the floor. And you know why? Because this is whitewash. This is original whitewash here. We never touched that. Some of the other stuff we touched up. This is original white. And down there's no white. It's unpainted because there was wainscoting. And right behind that cabinet, right there, is 2 or 3 pieces of the original wainscoting that was still there. So we knew the dimensions. So we reproduced the same wainscoting. My grandmother told me of a huge table. Well, in 1920, you didn't look at an 1850s table. It would be different. But this was the very period. I got these from 2 different sources, and they're very period correct. That's a dough box where they would put the bread in, and the dough would rise there. They would not have had, I have a lantern there that's an electrified oil lamp. You would not have had that. Right above, that's Mary on the left. She was Mary Wilson. She married Michael Duffy on the right. Now, my son's Michael Duffy. Does that kind of look like him? I don't know. He's got the beard. He's got the beard. And he was born here. He was the second oldest son. And it seems like the older sons, because there was like 12 kids, I'll show you where they were all conceived, right in there. Michael Duffy, he moved, and he took over the Wilson farm. just down Duffy's Lane. Took over the Wilson farm. And he raised my great-grandfather and all that. And I'll show you more upstairs. We do know they had stairs that went up, but the stairs started right there where you are, Jody, and they went up on an angle like that. And they took out these 3 beams. I had to replace these 3 beams. We got fir, and if you look close, you'll notice they're not as damaged as the others. And because of the whitewash, you could see where the original stairs were. Oh, yeah. So we got a guy that makes stairs, custom stairs, to match the exact, so that's the exact way they were. And we knew there was a door because there was a beam down the right side that wasn't whitewashed. There was a dark spot right there. So that we've reproduced pretty well right on. We knew this hearth of the fireplace, how far it come out. This is a Rumford fireplace. It's a style, it was the most efficient of the time. This is all original old stuff. This is called the fireplace crane. It's very old. We've had it fit perfect in here. This was a challenge, the beam, because they told me you could not have a wooden beam directly by a fireplace. To code, it's got to be 8 or 9 inches above, so I had to have stone down here, but it took away from the look. So I'm always like, if you can't go through, how do you go around and overcome? Adapt and overcome. Well, I found a log I really liked, and I sent it and I had a mold made of it, and that's concrete. So basically that inspector could come in. When he told me that was wrong, I told him he could kiss my ass. Look at that. That's solid. That's concrete. I did not leave in the ends. He's even got the end. He didn't make it. He molded it with special concrete. There's epoxy stuff in it. So he did that. So this we made up. If you've ever been to an antique place called High House, there's a guy, John McLaughlin, amazing guy, and he gave me the drawers and cupboards. So I got all old stuff here. And I used a lot of the wood here that we found on the walls. See, after this, in the 60s, 70s, they didn't like looking at logs, so they put rough planks up. And what they did was, they put newspaper over the planks, glued it, and then they put wallpaper on the newspaper. So I got wallpaper samples going back to the 1850s and 40s. So what they did is, after this, they built out that way. And they put on the first floor, right behind you, Wolf, back in there. And then they put the second story, sometime in the 1860s, the second story went up. And if you look at the picture, I have one picture of this as a log home, 2-story log home. And you can see the upper logs, they're equally large, but they're concave versus the other ones are convex. You can see that they're slightly different. I can't get over the height of the ceilings. It blows me away. And upstairs, you'll be amazed at how big. There were some big people there, but not that big. That was all, if you get a chance, you look in there, that's the most accurate. The bed, you'll see the rope beds in there. We haven't done anything. We're not done completely, right? Let's make our way upstairs. These are pretty steep. You know what we've done here in that first room, because we made this so narrow, and I still have a big bedroom set, and I had big display cabinets. I have a trap door in the floor right there. That goes down. So you lift things up from down below, in between the beams. So it's amazing. You'd never know when you look at it. But there's a trap door, you lift it all up and stuff comes up. So this room, this first room that's behind you there, that has got a lot of, there's a couple portraits of my great-grandmother, Mercy. She was Mercy Johnson. She worked in a doctor's office. And my great-grandfather, William Duffy, he was born at the Wilson farm just down the street on the left. On Duffy's Lane, and they met. She was I think a year and a half older, and she kept saying, "Go find someone your own age." She kept putting them off and stuff. A lot of stories, folklore stories that I documented and stuff. So that's going to be in there. You'll probably notice there's a throne in there. That was Mercy's. That's my great-grandmother. I did that. Mercy, and she was a gamer or something. I don't know. This one here, these are two twin beds. They're, again, about 1900. And I'm going to do this up as a tribute to the kids, the 3 daughters and the son Walker. This is it's called a walking wheel. It's a spinning wheel. And those are rakes there to separate the wool. I picked that up because Eliza was a dressmaker and something else. I forget what the terminology is. Weaver, something? Yes. I don't know. A mover and a shaker.
Yeah.
You'll hear me talk about Vera's treasure. Vera's treasure. You'll hear me talk about it later. We found it right up there, 10 inches in from the wall, in the attic. It was a tin box full of daguerreotypes and a note from Vera Duffy, 12-year-old girl.
Oh, you were so lucky.
Yeah, unbelievable what we found. We got pictures of James and Eleanor. We were in awe. That my contractor, Doug Thompson, he's here today. And I said to his guys when they went up cleaning out the attic, I said, anything you find, set aside. You do not throw anything out. He says, you got to get here. You're not going to believe what we found. So we came here, and it was amazing. And we posted all that. We posted all that on our multimedia pages and stuff. And I got an email, and said, I'm Vera's granddaughter. Oh, what? So now we found that whole side of the family. And whole side of the family. So I'm hoping Betty is the one that was here. There was 2 of them who were going to be here, but they were quite sick. They couldn't make it. Okay, that is a sample of original wallpaper. It was all drywalled. Everything was drywalled over. And it was full of asbestos. Cost me a fortune to have Lloyd Bridges and the underwater tank team boys come in and take it all out. It's just like burning money. Okay, I'm going to leave that room. Come on in here. Come on in here, this big room. This is the washroom they never had. That's for when I spend the night here. Now, I've taken some liberties here with the vaulted ceiling, because that is a phony ceiling that you're looking at. There's about 8 inches of foam underneath all that. But I wanted something kind of impressive here. This was a big bay window. We've changed that, and we put these in here, these logs. They were hand cut. But it was so funny, just to match it up. See my contractor with one of the same kind of Pioneer things, standing sideways, hacking it, trying to get the same pattern in the wood. So it was kind of funny. I had a bedroom set up for this. It was period correct, but it was too much for a farmer. So now I'm looking at getting one of those metal, brass and metal, post beds and stuff. Makes more sense. That's, I think, an 1890 sewing machine. Okay, I mentioned about how the original log home was disassembled after 1872. Yeah. Okay, when they first got here, you can imagine, virgin forest, you need to get up something fast. You're not going to have those big timber things, right? You're going to go small. And you're not going to be too selective on the logs, are you? So look at these logs behind me. You notice how they're much smaller than all the other ones? Yeah. This is the whole thing. But talk about not being selective. Come over here and look at that wall. Come over here. Come on in. Come right in. Look at that wall. They actually used those beams.
Yeah.
Isn't that something?
Yeah. Oh my gosh. It is.
And much smaller than the other ones, right?
Yeah, that's right.
And I've had them all sodium blasted, so they look the same.
Lovely.
Those are the vents there that I showed you downstairs, just to let the heat come up and heat up here as well. So this will be a tribute to George and Mary, and it'll be done up accordingly. I have a lot of information and beautiful pictures of them and stuff. We've got all kinds of stuff. So anyways, yeah, I'm going to get again, electrified oil lamp. Big oil lamp. You get them on chains and stuff. So there's still, we're not quite there. Who knows what that's for right there? That's a bed warmer. That's true. You put the hot coals in there.
Yeah.
You get it up near your hiney and keeps you warm. There you go. Okay, and these are a bunch of kids' blocks that we found. Yeah. We found them in the water cistern.
Oh, wow.
It's just kind of crazy. And we found, it's my brother-in-law and sister here today, and we found a sewing machine, like a sewing machine that was buried. And it was a mass of rust.
Wow.
And I said to my brother-in-law, Rob, he says something, but let me take that home, I'll clean that up. I'll give you $100 if you get it working. Well, he soaked it in some stuff and everything. That'll be on display. We found that buried out there. Some of the stuff, it's pretty cool. Hey guys, come in here for a second if you can. Just take a moment. What I want to do is I want to show you, if you go chronologically here, here's roughly 1837. Now, James Duffy, the first one that made this log cabin, he was an ensign, which is, they don't have ensigns anymore. It's like a second lieutenant. He was an officer because he was a yeoman, and a yeoman is a landowner. Anyways, So he was called up, and it's funny, I see James Duffy, and the question is, was that him? Is this the same? Age was the same, and geographically he could get, was Gore, the Gore rifles. So then we looked at when he got married, and the date he got married is the day before that is when they mustered everyone. They all had to come. And you know that from when they get paid. They get paid for every day, right? A nominal roll. Well, on him, he was 2 days late. Why? Because he got married. So then he came home and started having 12 kids.
Yeah.
So there's cannonballs, there's 3, 6, and 12 pounders. This is a 1797 light cavalry saber. Here's Brown Besses. There's an 1854 Brown Bess. This is the India pattern, like a 1798 Brown Bess. And there's an 1800 flintlock. Here is Robert Duffy. Here's a sad story. Robert Duffy was the firstborn of James. And he moved to Toronto. He worked somewhere in Toronto, we don't know where, but he joined the Queen's Own Rifles. He was at the Battle of Ridgeway, number 2 company. He was in the square that formed where they took a lot of casualties, and he survived. And he continued. After 1866, we were so disheveled, to say the least. Everyone was retrained and organized in Thorold. They went to Thorold. He was there for that. And then in September of 1866, he was listed as off on medical leave, indefinite, has left city. And the problem they had is they weren't poorly, they did not have backpacks. They did not have canteens. They were drinking ditch water. And more people died from drinking from dysentery and ditch water than they did from any battle.
That's right.
So he got ill somehow, and he came back here to die. And that was it. His brother, that's supposed to be Michael Duffy, doesn't look like my son, but anyways, that is Michael Duffy. He's the second born. He's the first, he's the second. And his brother, James Taylor Duffy, was the third born. He went they were with the Albion, local, not Toronto, the Albion Infantry Company, right here. And they trained and they were paid, and I'm still looking up records and stuff on that, but I have all the records of him. I have his Fenian Raid medal with his name on it and everything. This guy, we don't have any of that out yet. So they both did. And then right after that, when he came home, just like his father came home from the rebellion and started the 12 kids, he went home and started 6 kids right after. Literally, the year after he came back from 1866, his firstborn was born.
Robert would have been at the Battle of Ridgeway with 2 of my relatives.
Yeah.
For the Queen.
Isn't that something? Now, back there, on the right, if you go chronologically, there's First World War. I don't like the mannequins. I'm not happy with these mannequins, just to let you know. There was 4 Duffys that we're aware of that they fought in World War I in various capacities. Could be Duffys, could be McGuires, could be Stan Ball married Mary Duffy. McGuire, he married Sarah Duffy. I mean, you know what I'm saying? And on the left, that's me at 16 years old. That's what I wore in 1969. That's me, 1969. That's my uniform. Exactly, boots, puttees, everything. I kept it, always kept it. These weapons are deactivated. Any antiques don't need it, but anything that's not an antique, like that one there, is deactivated. And that's where we are so far, just getting this done here.